Happy Halloween, sisters! What's up everyone, Erica here, and I'm back today with another video for you. If this is by chance one of the first videos you are clicking on of my channel, then welcome to you. I'm so happy to have you here. And if it is not the first time you are clicking on my channel and you see me quite often, then welcome to you too. Either way, I'm so happy to have each and every one of you here for today's video. As you could probably guess by the thumbnail and the description, today I'm going to be sharing with you all my personal opinions on Hocus Pocus 2 while doing my makeup using the new ColourPop / Hocus Pocus 2 collaboration makeup line. If that is something that you are interested in, you are in luck. So just brace yourself for Erica with no makeup on. Here we go. Hello Salem, my name's Erica. What's yours? Looking super washed out. That's not fun. Okay, I'm trying so hard to not look washed out, but the settings is just getting worse. So let's just work with it, okay? Ghost Erica in the house for the win. About 10 of you asked to know my thoughts on Hocus Pocus 2, so that's what I'm here to do. My stepmom was just so incredible enough to buy me the newest Hocus Pocus collection collaboration with ColourPop Cosmetics, and I've literally waited to sit down and film this video so I can open this on camera and like share my thoughts with you on the palette, on the movie. Like, I'm gonna talk about the movie while I get ready and do my makeup with the new collection. This is the first time I'm seeing the palette, so this is the packaging that it came with. This one's called All Hallows Eve, and it is for Hocus Pocus 2, as you can see right here. And we have the Sanderson sisters illustrated again. It's crazy that ColourPop does it like in different ways every time. It's kind of interesting. I'm gonna read you guys all the colors while I show them to you. Candle is a Light, Spellbook, Cursed, Havoc, 17th Century, 29 Years, Marvelous, Brew Another Batch, Wicked Ways, Witch Hunters, Cometh to Us, Doomed, Night of Sins, Observe, Till Midnight. And there are some that have little stars on them, like asterisks, and they say not intended for use in the immediate eye area. That's like kind of like alarming to me. Anyway, so this is what the palette looks like. I love the black with the lime green, and look at how fabulous they look. So in like for size reference, this is definitely the biggest palette. This is the first one, which would be like a medium size. This is the second here. So for size reference, this one's just a little bit bigger than the first one. The second one was really small. We do have some matte, we do have some shimmers, some that look like a little bit of like a pressed pigment. The second one only had 12. So this one comes with 15 shadows, just like the first edition, but the pans are much bigger, the pan size of the shadows. So I get the size difference of the palette itself. This is the only one that came with a mirror. I'm just kind of going over this stuff with you in case you guys are curious. And it does have that 3D effect to it, like it's lifted a little bit, which I love. And we have Thackeray Binks right here with Winifred, which is also a super cute little touch. Anyway, that is the palette. So I am gonna go ahead and get started on my makeup, and let's go ahead and jump on into what I thought of Hocus Pocus 2. Before I go full throttle, like nerd alert on you guys, I am gonna throw myself under the bus here, and I'm just gonna be frank with you. I know that I care too much. Okay, I know that my opinion is probably like too serious and no one actually cares that much. Like, I'm just gonna tell you that now and preface this video with that now. I know that I am probably gonna embarrass myself. It's not that serious, I understand. But you guys wanted to know, a few of you, the very few of you that asked to know my opinion. First of all, thank you for caring. I love you. But second of all, you want to know, so I want to tell you the truth, and I want to go into detail, because if I can't talk to you guys, my Disney folk, about it, then who can I talk to? JD? No? So right now I'm going in with spell book, which is this kind of like camel matted brown, just as a nice transition shade. This is my safe space. I love a nice little transition shade. To the 10 of you that asked me, thank you for making me feel important. Thank you for making me feel like I should film this video in the first place. So let's get started with the beginning of the movie, okay? I keep saying I'm gonna get started and then I feel like I should preface it again. I have a lot of thoughts on this movie, you guys. I have a lot of thoughts on this movie. The first time I watched it was the day that it came out, and I watched it completely on my own. JD wasn't home. I put Juliana to bed and I watched it by myself. Yeah, it was nice not having any interruptions, but I have a lot of thoughts on the movie. Agree with me, disagree with me, that's fine. I'm just gonna tell you right now, I had a lot of things that I disagreed with the movie. So let me just, I guess, start with that. So I guess we'll start with the young Sanderson sisters, okay? I really liked that. I did really like it. I thought they were cast well. It was a little bit cringy to me. I thought they were overacting a lot. But I mean, they're kids, so also like I get it. But I did like learning about the girls. I thought that that was something, I honestly thought that they should make that into like a little series for the Disney Channel or something. Like, I think that that would be something really cute, very interesting to see their upbringing and a little more into them in like Salem in those days. I thought that that was a really cute touch. So when they run out to the woods and Mother comes, or I don't know, the witch, okay? First of all, my immediate reaction to seeing the actress that played the witch in the woods, I only know her as like Rebecca from Ted Lasso. She looked so good. And I immediately was like, okay, I need to take that on as a costume. Maybe I get to be the sexy witch for once, okay? Not the ugly one with gluing down my eyebrows and the buck teeth. Maybe I can be the pretty one for once. I was totally into her little outfit and I thought she was so beautiful. The devil himself gave Winifred the book. So who is this witch in the woods? Like with the bird, she's turning into the bird. We don't know what's going on, okay? Discrepancy number one. Are we assuming that like Allison and like everyone that grew up in Salem was told incorrectly? And that's really the way that it happened? Like, is that the story we're going with now? Let me know. Let me know. And her turning into like the Raven and watching them and stuff, it was very much so giving like Professor McGonagall transfiguration, right? That's the vibe I kind of got from it. All right, I'm going in with Doomed, which is this like super bright orange shade. Super bright. I will say that the whole scene with the sisters in the woods and like they're talking to the witch, I loved a witch is nothing without her coven. I was like, there is the quote of the movie. Like, that is just such a cute and strong quote. I immediately felt like attached to the quote. Like, I was like, oh my God, I love that. So I kind of like stuck to that, a witch is nothing without her coven. And that's just something that kind of stood out to me. And obviously you're watching this, you saw the movie. It kind of alludes to the end. A witch is nothing without her coven, right? Anyway, of course, I'm getting way ahead of myself, not the end. So let's get into the new characters, them Disney bounding, okay? I didn't notice it right away. I noticed it later on. I don't remember when, but one that stood out to me very like prominently was Cassie. It's almost like they were paying tribute to Max and Allison. Like she was like a love child of theirs because she was wearing tie-dye, but she had like a cardigan on that Allison wears throughout the whole movie in the first one. So that's when I noticed it for sure. I'm just trying to remember if I noticed it before then or not, but I did like how they were each a sister, right? Becca was obviously Winifred. So one thing that I thought to myself, and I just figured I would share with you guys, I'm like, if these kids are living in Salem and they're getting made fun of for being in witchcraft, that seems so backwards to me. You live in Salem. Like, I would assume you are heavy into witchcraft. I would think the kids that aren't into witchcraft would get bullied more. Like, you live in Salem, isn't it like a prerequisite to live there that you have to kind of be into witches and stuff? So I was like, oh, nice. The jock is making fun of them for being into like witches and stuff. So that did not land with me because I think being into witchcraft is super cool. I also like that they made Cassie kind of like, I don't know, the drifter and like super into boys and, you know, not very, she wasn't loyal to her friends. She was more like driven by the boys. And I was like, well, is that like a nod to Sarah? You know, like she's more boy crazy and that was like where her priorities were. I kind of thought about that a little bit too. Something super random that I could totally be like grasping at straws here, but something that was super weird to me was the 10 flashlights thing. When Izzy and Becca bump into Cassie's dad when they're setting up for the fair, they said something about like, oh yeah, do you remember when Cassie brought like 10 flashlights or something weird like that? And then later on when they're in the forest, they show the picture and I'm like, that looks so weird. What is that? But it's the 10 flashlights. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything and maybe I missed it or it's, I'm just completely reaching. But I thought that was super weird. The picture of her with like the 10 flashlights and they made it a point to like mention it in the video, in the movie. Anyway, I thought all of the adults in this movie were pretty cringe. I'm going in with Cometh to Us, this rich chocolate brown in the corner. I thought Cassie's dad was kind of funny, but like, even then, I'm being generous saying that he's funny. Like, I did not think he was super, super funny. There were definitely parts, but for the most part, I thought all the adults were super, super cringe. Like Gilbert, was that his name? Gilbert? The guy that owned the magic shop, like I just didn't care for him. I didn't, yeah, I'll get into that a little later. All right, so let's talk about the Sanderson sisters making their appearance. I told you guys I'm gonna have a lot of opinions, okay? And I'm sure it's gonna come off like I hated this movie and I'm being super negative, but I do have a lot of thoughts about this movie. Now, the one thing I will say, I was smiling the entire time once the sisters came out. The best way I can describe my feeling while watching this movie was like seeing friends that I haven't seen and I missed them. Like I missed them, okay? So while, yes, I didn't completely obsess and like fall in love with this movie, I was so happy to see the Sanderson sisters. I was so happy to see them. I thought that it was just great. It was like seeing old friends and I was happy to see them. I don't know if that even makes sense, but that was something that I did enjoy, was like seeing them on the screen, if you will. This brown is not blending into the orange as much as I would like, so I'm probably gonna be here for a while. So when they came out singing, I was a little like, okay, what's going on here? Like, is this like a little musical or what's happening here? I did think that it was super funny. Like I immediately thought it was super funny that they were being tricked by Izzy and Becca. You know, like, oh, we're actually 40 and like we can take you to get the souls that are already, you know, like in the potion for you and all that. I thought that was so funny. It did give that like dorky humor that I did miss from the first one. So the freaking CVS scene, you guys, cracked me up. Like, it was so funny to me when they were like, oh, she must be so powerful, the door is open for her. Like, that was classic. Like, that's what I'm talking about. That reminded me of Hocus Pocus, you know, like when Max completely tricks them into thinking like the burning rain of death. Like, it's just so, it was so funny to me. I was cracking up. The whole CBF scene was just a riot. Mary with the little Roombas, are you kidding? That was so funny, super creative, even though like we kind of knew that was coming because of the poster, like the flyer, you could see the little like Roombas on her feet. But you guys, can we talk about Sarah for a second? Like, I guess let me just get into my thoughts on the characters really quick, okay? You know, Kathy Najimy, Mary, is supposed to bring this comedic relief, right? And she totally does in the first one. I feel like, and granted, yes, it's been 29 years. I understand, believe me. I am the one that has been waiting for 29 years for this movie to come out. Believe me, I know how long it's been. But it's like these actors forgot how to act like their characters. And it's almost like they tried so hard to make Mary the comedic relief, and it like showed that they were trying so hard, in my opinion. Sarah, on the other hand, was like, in my opinion, when I was watching this movie, I'm like, okay, did Sarah get smarter within these 29 years? I told JD, my immediate thought was like, oh, Sarah Jessica Parker, you've been in more, you were in Sex and the City, you were in a ton of movies, you're more experienced now, we're gonna give you so many more lines this time. That's the way it felt. Like, she just wasn't the same, like less ditzy. I don't know, it wasn't there for me. I was feeling like I was watching Carrie Bradshaw, not Sarah Sanderson, which I did not feel like that from the first Hocus Pocus. I do think that there was a difference. Yeah, I don't know. Which again, I know that I'm coming down hard, but like, that's just kind of the way that I felt when I was watching it. It was kind of like, oh, like when she said amok, you guys, that was so cringe. I'm like, I understand what you guys are trying to do, like almost like a little tribute to the old movie and giving the fans what they want, but like, is that really what we wanted? Because it was so cringe. This is kind of turning into just like a muddy orange brown, which I'm not super loving, but honestly, I'm not gonna start over from this point, so we're just gonna roll with it, okay? It's starting to look more like a bruise, you guys. I'm so sorry. Oh, I kind of like the green. Okay, just kidding, we're going in with the green, which is brew another batch. Let's brew another batch. I kind of was going over my dislike of Gilbert. This was just, seemed very far-fetched to me and very like, oh yeah, that sounds good, let's just go with that. Him running around at dusk and he just so happened to see them turn into dust when the sun rose. Like, he's a kid, okay? He's a little kid, and it isn't like, oh, he was out at 10 o'clock. No. He was up at dusk, and there was this little boy just like roaming around in the cemetery at dusk on Halloween. Like, where was your mom, Gilbert? Where were your parents? Because somebody should have checked in with you maybe, because I don't know. I mean, I guess it worked out for him because he ended up like, oh, running the little magic shop or whatever, but that one was just a little bit of like a question mark for me. Did anyone care that their little son was running around a graveyard at dusk? Okay, we're good with that now these days? I don't think I would be. Then, I think it was Rita who mentioned it this way to me, but I was like, what the hell happened to Billy? What happened to him? He never like spoke this way. I think Rita was the one that said, oh, he's talking like Jack Sparrow now. And that is absolutely true. Like, that was not what his voice was like before. And now he really did. He sounded like Captain Jack Sparrow. Like, his voice was different. And again, I know, okay? It's been 29 years. I understand that they're acting, they're older too. It's gonna be different. But it was just, missed the mark a little bit. Also, was Billy just like in the cemetery for those 29 years, like just with like a little thin layer of dirt on him? Like, Danny was like, good night, Billy. And he was like, 29 years later, he's like, you know, okay, sure. Is that, I don't know. So I'm saying, like, are we okay with this? I need to know. Like, am I the only person that cares this much about this kind of stuff? Like, is everyone like, no, Erica, we've accepted it. He was just hanging in the cemetery. It's fine. You don't need to lose sleep over it. Because if that's the case, then I will stop losing sleep over it, you guys. Okay, now let's talk about Book. Because this is what I'm saying. I feel like they changed a lot. In the first movie, Book did not have emotions. I liked that he had emotions this time around. I did, but it completely changed. He sweated, he kind of like smiled, he cried. So he is now capable of feeling these emotions. Like, again, that's fine, but like, are we good with this, you guys? Is this the way it's gonna be? Are we feeling okay with these decisions? Can we move forward? I just don't know. Like, I liked it. I liked that he had emotions, but why change it so much from the original? Okay, so their performance at the little, the festival. Now, I did like the song. I did enjoy the One Way or Another. with everybody dancing, it gave me like Thriller vibes, which I loved. And I loved the little ode to, like, I saw the mom, or like a character dressed like Madonna, kind of like an ode to the first movie. I loved that. But the song will literally never hold a candle to I Put a Spell on You. Like, I don't see one way or another holding a candle to I Put a Spell on You. Like, it just didn't make me super like how I Put a Spell on You does, right? Anytime I watch Hocus Pocus, the first one, and I hear like that part's coming up, I just immediately feel like I'm required, it is in my DNA to get up and dance to that scene. And I don't really see, you know, maybe later down the road I will. Currently, I don't see it being like, oh my God, my favorite song. Oh my God, I think of this every time. I think of Hocus Pocus every time I hear it. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I did enjoy it though. I did really enjoy it. So what about Cobweb, you guys? Cobweb the Black Cat. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Is he a descendant of Thackeray Binks? I feel like he has to be, right? Thackeray Binks lived a long life, okay? 300 years? Was he getting into some trouble? I don't know. Okay, I also didn't love that they had a couple watching Hocus Pocus, like Winifred when she's looking for the girls, and she passes by a house and people are watching Hocus Pocus. I was like, what? No, thank you. No thanks, because this is real life, okay? You're not watching a movie of the old one. It's real life. There are real witches. The Sanderson sisters exist. They're not watching a movie. I also thought the Alexa part, like there's a woman inside that box, was super funny. I'm trying to remember the parts that like actually made me LOL, if you will, and that was one of them. Did you guys notice the Goose Creek candle that was right there in the Alexa scene? I was like, oh, there's my sign that I should have bought that candle when I wanted to, and I completely forgot. Speaking of Cobweb and Thackeray Binks, these little ears came for free with my kit here. Maybe I'm also a Thackeray Binks descendant. Let's see. Dobby, could you not? Meow. So I look super stupid. I don't care. I don't know how this eyeshadow is coming out, you guys. It might look like baby diarrhea because it's like brown and orange and green. I don't know. But we're going with it. So I don't see a highlight shade in the palette, so I'm going to use another one. Okay, I cannot do my eyeliner while I talk to you guys, so I'm going to do that, glue on my lashes, and I will be right back. Not me forgetting to press record before I started on my concealer. That's okay, I'm wrapping it up anyway. What do you guys think of my lashes? It's freaking bats. I wore these lashes in a Halloween look that I did for my first trimester little recap, and I tried to film that and the quality of the video was so bad, so here I am re-recording it. But that would have been the first time you guys see these lashes, but I still think they're super cool. One thing that I also thought was kind of weird, like thrown together a little bit, was, you know, the Sanderson sisters were so set on finding Cassie's dad, right? Like the mayor, that's like what they sent the whole town to look for him. And they get to Cassie's house and then they get trapped, right? Like the girls trap them in the circle of salt, which was also super funny. But then like he gets home and complains to Cassie and the girls about his caramel apple or his candy apple, right? And then he just goes inside the house and like that's the end of the dad. We don't hear anything else from the dad. That's the end. That is all he wrote. That is literally like the end of his saga. So they were looking for him, and I get that it's probably because they focus more on Cassie and then that's the end of taking her. It just seemed like they left it a little open-ended, or the girls were just like, go inside the house and don't come out. And then it's like, oh, okay. The Golden Girls reference really made me laugh. I forget what he called them, like the spooky Golden Girls or something. That was so funny. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the end. I absolutely cried, okay? We all know what happens. Winnie does the Magica Maxima, whatever spell. She loses what matters to her most, which is her sisters, right? While I cried, and I thought like Bette Midler did a freaking phenomenal job. I didn't talk about this before, but it's like, I feel like in my mind, I don't even need to say it. Bette Midler is untouched. She did a phenomenal job. They really effed up her makeup with those Spirit Halloween, like $2 cobweb lashes, that was not where it was at with those lashes. But other than that, she did a phenomenal job. She is unmatched, she is untouched. But you know, as I already said, Mary and Sarah were just kind of meh. But all that to say, the end scene with Bette Midler, she gave an incredible performance and I loved it. I cried. But in dissecting it the way that I do, the way that every normal 33-year-old does for a Disney movie about 3 witches, cut me some slack, okay? This movie was my entire childhood. Dissecting it the way that I did, I'm not sure that Winnie would have actually done that. I like that she chose her sisters. I personally do like that. I like the little happy ending that they give, that she does end up with them. But I'm not entirely sure that that's Winnie. She's always been very selfish. She's always been quick to think of herself. I mean, ours, you know, like she's just, to me, she's always given a very like selfish, like I'm the smart one, I'm the boss, like you guys need to listen to me, I'm the one in charge, like you guys need to follow my lead, I think this is what's most important. I don't actually know like if she were real, if that's actually what she would have chosen. So I don't really know where I land with that, because I did enjoy it and I love the way that they ended it that way, but I don't actually know if that's like the real character choice that like I would have gone with if I were the director. I don't know, or the writer. With the end, the 3 girls like being friends and whatnot, I love that they kind of left it open-ended for like a new era of witches. I think that they left it open like that. Obviously, if you guys saw the end, like the very end scenes, there is another black flame candle. I like the idea of this new era of young witches. I do see them making another movie or maybe like a little TV show out of it. That's very Disney Channel, and that's kind of something that I wanted to touch on. If you're a fan of movies like The Descendants and stuff like that, I have nothing against them. I'm not the biggest fan of those movies, like the newer age Disney movies. Call me old school if you will. And I also don't have a, like my daughter isn't, she wasn't into those either. So I have a lot of friends that like their kids like Descendants, so they've watched Descendants, and I have friends that don't have kids and love Descendants. That's not to say anything about that. But what I'm saying is it's very like Disney Channel new era. That's the way I feel this movie was. I thought this movie was lacking in the spooky department. I feel like that was one of the reasons I disliked it. Obviously, I watched this movie growing up as a kid and it did give me like that spooky vibe. Even as an adult, it still gives me spooky vibes, but now this one just was lacking that completely. It was very Disney Channel. It was very cutesy. I don't know. I guess a part of me was hanging on to it being a little similar to the first one in some ways, but not like expecting it to be as good or to be as funny, because it's comedy from like the 90s that I used to think was funny back then. I get that it's not going to be the same. Like I don't actually think I went in with super high standards, but I think it was maybe a little bit too cutesy for me. I'm going to quickly put on some blush and some highlight. I think I'm gonna go in with Night of Sins, which is this very dark, like evergreen color on my lower lash line here. I kind of am bringing it out to create like a false wing. I'm going in with the lime green shade Cursed, kind of like here in the inner corner, connecting it to that dark green. It's not as glitzy as the one that's on my lid. I'm gonna hit my lashes with some mascara and I will be back to finish up my lips and go over my final thoughts for the movie. I know how washed out I look. It's kind of unfortunate because of my background, but it is what it is. So in the past, my stepmom has bought me the entire collection, but this time it kind of looked like they came out with similar lip colors. Like last time they came out with a black liquid lipstick and they did it again this time, but I think it was like a black gloss. So I'm glad she did it, but she did get me the one lip shade that I would want naturally. It's the Winifred gloss and it is called Sistas Behold. And it is a So Glassy lip gloss. So the packaging is like this. It's so cute. Have her dress on each side. So I'm gonna line my lips with my teeny tiny Milani lip liner that's about to kick the bucket. The gloss itself is a little kind of like a translucent gloss with gold and silver reflex in it. I did already try it, so I do know that it's not super shimmery, which I do prefer. Like if I'm gonna wear a gloss, I want it to be pretty glassy, if you will. So it's probably not like my #1 favorite gloss, but either way, I'm happy to have it in my collection. Then I'm gonna go over top with the gloss. So if you guys can see, it's got a nice like shimmer to it, but it's not super wet, if you will. That's gonna do it for my Hocus Pocus 2 ColourPop collection makeup tutorial and going over the movie. My overall thoughts for the movie is I did love it. Do I love it better than the first one? Absolutely not. And how dare some of you say that it was better than the original. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions, even if they're wrong. Wrong opinion. Look, it was cute. I enjoyed watching it. I've seen it now about 3 times in total, and I do enjoy it. I do see myself watching it every year for Halloween. Is it my favorite? No. It will never replace the first one in my heart. I had a lot of issues with it, but overall, it was cute. I do give it a 7 out of 10. JD gave it a 6. I'm very curious to know what you guys would rate it and let me know your thoughts. Do you guys have any like answers or solutions to the discrepancies I mentioned? Like, let me know. Let's chat. Did I miss something? I did my best to like take notes on the things that kind of stood out to me and whatnot. So I'm hoping I didn't miss anything. But if I did, I'm sure you guys will let me know down in the comments. I don't think I talked about the whole Billy Butcherson and Winnie sharing just one kiss. Save it for another video. I so hope you guys enjoyed, you know, hearing my thoughts on this movie. Again, thank you to those of you who asked my opinion on it. I hope you liked the makeup tutorial. But for now, that's gonna do it for me. So I wanna thank you so much for taking time out of your day to watch this video. And I hope to see you back again for the next one. Happy Halloween.